Hi, everybody. I hope y'all are doing well. I hope y'all are having a great day today. If you're new here, I want to welcome you to School of Scarlett, the School of Unconditional Love. And if you're a returning subscriber or returning viewer, thank you so much for tuning back in. I'm so happy to have you back here today. If you're new and you like this video, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you here. And let's get this video out there, share it, and let's get people watching this content. So today I wanted to talk about failure. So I had talked about success and failure in a previous video, but I didn't go too far into failure. And that is because failure actually does not technically exist. Failure is a total illusion. You cannot fail in this life. You can't fail at anything. So life is only just giving you life experiences that you're going to move along your path and experience lots of beautiful things that are filled with love and lessons. And the only thing that can happen is that you can have these life experiences, or you could have what I would call guidance or feedback from life. And so that's not a bad thing. And so lots of people in life that are very successful, if you really look at their stories, they went through a lot of times where there was failure. There was times that they were told they couldn't do it. There was times that they literally couldn't do it, but yet they kept trying. So failure is pretty much like a prerequisite to success or doing anything in life, really, because we're going to have these periods of failure. It's just a learning curve. It's just part of life. It's the way it unfolds. And for most people, it unfolds this way. But we can't have the mentality that, our life can be easy. And that's a mental shift that we can do. And life begins to get a lot easier in the sense when we have that shift happen within our minds. And when we understand our true nature, that sort of begins to kind of relax that feeling of success or failure. There's no more of that, really questioning that success and failure feeling or that judgment is actually coming from the brain. So when we drop down to our hearts and we're functioning more from our hearts, and not so much from the brain, then that kind of success and failure mentality will kind of shift. And it'll turn into, like I say, just kind of this mentality that life is really just showing you experiences and giving you chances and giving you feedback and guidance throughout your journey to redirect you, reorient you to the heart, to your true desire, your true essence, the true journey and path that this expression, this human being, this particularly unique human being wants to express. So it's just going to reorient you. So life is sometimes funny that way, where we think we get through failure, we get into a situation where we think that we're failing, or we've come across something really too big to handle, or we feel like we can't do it. It's actually we have to go through that. And once we go through that, that is where we can align with our heart. So there is this kind of period where you're going to have to go through all this yuck, all this stuff that we thought, we can't do. We just got to go through it, whether or not we're successful at it, or whether we fail. Either one is actually a win, because if we go through that and we get past to the other side, okay, great, there we are, now we're there. But if we don't get through that, what's going to happen is, yes, you're going to maybe feel this feeling of, if you're still functioning a lot with the brain, of failure. If you're with the heart, you're going to feel like, oh, guidance, I now need to, reorient, seek my heart again and see what should I do now. And some sort of inspired action will arise, some kind of thought will arise. If it doesn't happen in that moment, it might happen a little bit later on as you're taking a walk. As you're walking around in nature, you'll begin to get these inspired messages, and these messages will be your guide. So you'll get another chance to get back onto your path within your heart. So it's really not a problem to get out there and try these things. So if there's something that you've been really trying or wanting to do, whether that's a childhood dream or a dream that just spontaneously came up now, or something that you wanted to try, something that you wanted to do, maybe it's something that you feel like you've been wanting to do, you just haven't done it for whatever reason. It's time to really just take that chance and do it and see what's there, and it may take you through some yuck, and you may have to fight for it. You may have to go through these things, But like I say, the most successful people, if you read their biographies, let's say Michael Jordan, anybody, they came across a lot of failures. And even scientists, they come up they're constantly told or whatever that their work is not good enough, this and that, and yet they keep working at it. So you keep realigning with your heart's desire. If it is your desire to do science and that's what you're doing, and maybe you're trying to do a certain type of science and maybe that institution isn't allowing for it or doesn't value it, keep trying, keep going with your heart. These failures, these blocks will seem to pop up, but they're completely illusory. They're not real. These blocks are just there to really get you really aligned with your heart, to make it very clear. It's kind of to kind of get you completely out of that brain. We still function with the brain, we still use the brain, of course, but the heart's trying to get you completely out of there. So it's going to, what some people call in psychology, an ego death. It's really a very painful process sometimes. And the heart is really trying to pull you down back into your heart and not so much up here, so that you can do your heart's work, which is your divine work, which is what you're here for to do, which is basically your heart's desire, whatever that happens to be, whether that's just playing all day with your kids, or maybe you're on a mission to save the planet in some way, whatever it happens to be. We all have something that we are expressing and something that's very unique to us, that is a very heart-centered desire that we hold. And it's a desire that doesn't leave us. It's a desire that we've always known. But different things will come up. Like I said, you might have a dream to do this or try that or do that. And all of these things will pop up for you to take them, for you to go and experience that life experience. And through that life experience, more and more experiences will begin to open. And as more and more experiences begin to open, all that's happening is it's pointing back to you, pointing back to your heart. And in turn, it's just giving and receiving of love through life. And, learning more and more about what this all is, until we finally realize what it is. And it's really just love. It's just really nothing. It's just love. And when we come to that understanding, we're free. We're set free. And that's another level of freedom that we can access. But just working with our hearts alone, if we can just make that shift, and just really stay with it, because that's our actual natural nature. When we're going with the brain, we're actually in resistance. That's actually stressful to our bodies. That's actually stressful to us as humans in our mental, in our mental state, in our physical state. It's all very stressful to be in resistance to what naturally wants to be. So it's actually that we're in resistance when we're up here. So our natural state is in the heart. It actually shouldn't be something hard to do, but we've been so programmed and instilled that we have to do this or that. And we've over time, and just everything that has happened in the history of humanity, because we're expressing as a human, um, there has been a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, the way that parents have parented, and situations have happened in the past and how they're happening now, and just the changes of how everything is. um, there's a lot of people still dealing with a lot of that shame and lots of things that, really keep us in these limitations and feeling very small, and like we can't try things, or like certain things are forbidden, or certain things are too hard, or certain things are embarrassing, or certain things are not for us, or we feel less than. And these kind of feelings and things have all just been, part of our human nature up until now. And we're beginning to see some children and things that are a lot more open and a lot more expressive to what they truly feel they are and things like that. So we're beginning to see a shift there. But for the most part, most of us all carry this, and this shame and guilt and all these things really stop us from really even having life experiences. So while you might be going to work, doing certain things, and you feel a little bit out of alignment, but at the same time, you feel like you are doing things, what's happening is you're just doing things. You're just doing things, and you're going to look back. You're going to see 5 years pass, 10 years pass, 20 years pass, and you look back, and really nothing's really changed. It's all just been the same. There's nothing wrong with that. If you feel content and comfortable in that, that is completely fine. There's no one or no situation that's better or worse than the other than, in my personal opinion, if you're out of alignment with your heart, because then you're in resistance to what naturally wants to be. And when you're in resistance to that, it hurts emotionally, it hurts physically, it hurts in a lot of ways because you're not being who you truly are. And if you're not being who you truly are, you're hiding that. You're not being yourself, and that's in turn really hurting you to have to put up this show of something that you're truly not. So it's time to start really just getting back into our natural state of being and allowing life to just flow through us without having any commentaries about it or telling life what we want and what we should do, other than just telling it what our heart wants. Our heart wants this. My heart's saying I want this. I feel like I should do this. I think I need to rest and do this. Or, I would be more happier around these people. Or I think I need to go here. Following that is going to lead you into these life experiences that are very beautiful and will lead you into more and more love and alignment until one day you wake up and it is exactly the life that you wanted. Whereas if you follow the other path of, just following fear and kind of following whatever, everybody else is telling you in your exterior world, if you follow all of that, what's going to happen is you're going to go 5, 10 years, 20 years, hoping and wishing that things change, and you're going to look back and nothing's changed. It's just going to be the same because you never broke out of that. It's time to really, if you want to try something, go ahead and take that inspired action. Go ahead and see where life takes you. Otherwise, you're going to repeat a lot of the same things and even the same lessons. Where if you go the other route, just following your heart, you will still have lessons. You will still have all of this, but you will have growth. You will have the lessons and lots of growth that will eventually expand your capacity for love, and till you can reach, a level of really working with any kind of love, and you'll be able to accept, people with the lowest levels of love, like, people that hurt other people and things like that. And then you'll be able to accept people that are in the middle and the high. It's going to be all neutral to you when you see this. But to get to this path, you really have to follow your heart. And that's how it starts. And a lot of times, the painful path of following fear can also lead you to your heart, but in a very painful way. What will happen is that you'll go into, this fear-based lifestyle of, all these things are going to happen and just all of this stuff, and it's just a repeating situation. And that repeating situation becomes so painful and so unbearable at some point, and it's become so unbearable to really not be who you are authentically, that you just break. And when that happens, the only option you have is to turn to love. You can turn to God, source, universe, love. You're going to turn that way because you have no other choice. You've gone through the wheel so many times and nothing has changed. So when that breaks, you go to love. And so that path can occur as well. That's why there is no failure. Any path you take is going to lead you to love eventually. But there are easier paths, and then there are some more painful and more difficult paths. So following our heart, at sometimes it could feel a little painful at the beginning when we're breaking away from the brain or ego, but eventually it's going to be a very easy path because it's going to feel very good to follow your heart when you get into that rhythm and that reorientation of your heart. But if you follow the other path, it's going to feel very tense, tightness, like you're going against the current, and that's going to last. Whereas following your heart, that's only in the beginning when you're getting over that hump of really moving from your brain to your heart. The resistance path, you're going to feel resistance the whole time. So those are the kind of differences that we see there. But what this video is really about is just to say that there is no failure. Whatever you're doing in life, whatever is happening right now, is perfectly fine. And you haven't done anything wrong. And in any moment, you can choose love. That's how accepting and forgiving this is. In every moment, it's a fresh new moment. There's actually no time, no anything. So there's no consequence to anything that you've done, not done, whatever. This is all here and now for you. So if you want to align with your heart, you just have to do that now. You can hold your heart, touching your heart center, even though your heart might be over here, just touching around here where your energy is. Usually we feel tension and we feel our heartbeats here in the center, don't we? That's the energy. So you want to hold that or touch it, give it some sort of touch. And just feel into that. I'm going to follow my heart now. And you can even verbally say that. Saying words is also very powerful for the person. And so that's a good thing too. My dog just knocked something down. So you want to also speak it if you can. All of these things will begin to also psychologically with the brain begin to signal to the brain, hey, we're moving on down now. So you won't want to signal to the brain through the nervous system by touching, by speaking, I'm following my heart. And just by doing it, as soon as you get those inspired actions, those little nudges to do certain things, go ahead and take them. And, if it's too much, just start with the small things in the beginning. The more you begin to honor yourself, your heart's desire, and what you truly are, the more you'll become in alignment with that. And the more that you'll notice things begin to shift and change for you, and life begins to get easier. So, I just wanted to share that with you, just share a little bit more about failure, because in that video that I talked about success and failure, I feel like I focused a lot more on success, and I was going to share some stories with you, but for whatever reason, it didn't feel necessary to share them with you. All there is really just life experiences and guidance or feedback for you. So there's no fears here. You can try whatever you want. If you've always been wanting to try something, now is the moment. We really don't need to wait on anything. We can go ahead and align with our hearts in this moment and go ahead and begin to live authentically to ourselves. So I hope that you enjoyed this video here today. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please subscribe to this channel and share this video. Get this video out there to people so that we can start sharing more about working with our hearts, because the more I work with people and the more that I work with people outside of, I used to work in the traditional counseling and mental health field, and the more I come out of that and working with people and working with the heart, this has made an immense impact on the individuals that I've worked with and I've seen that have chosen to do this. So please get this message out there, and let's all start sharing about working with our heart. Thanks so much for watching.